United back in the First Division, and it's a time for celebrations. The man who guided them there, manager Howard Wilkinson, and what a fabulous achievement that was. But now Howard has another testing task. It is to choose the greatest ever collection of 11 players to wear the famous white strip of Leeds. Now, most of his team might well be picked from the spectacular squad of the late 60s and 70s. But there are other exciting candidates both before and after the Reevy era. And what explosive action there is for us all to enjoy again.
Bates bringing it away. And now the chase is on. Muir versus Jones, and Jones is winning it. Beautiful goal by Mick Jones. Clark is off. Got three West Ham defenders surging around him, but he finds now Peter Lorimer inside for Johnny Giles. And Hunter coming up fast to drive it. Oh, and what a goal! What a goal by Norman Hunter! Lorimer taking it on himself all the time past Bradford. Clark. Two. A goal from inside the Leeds half. McQueen finding goal. Shot by Lorimer. That ball really bent. Gray still up there. Good footwork by Gray, still going. Oh, what a lovely goal, what a masterly goal by Eddie Gray.
Now, in picking this greatest ever Leeds side, we have categories for attack, midfield and defence. We start by picking two central strikers. These are the candidates: Charles Keatley, John Charles, Mick Jones, Alan Clark and Joe Jordan.
Charles Keatley, well, the first thing that struck me about him was that he was from one of 10 brothers. He had a sister, so he had 10 brothers and himself, and 10 of them, or 9 of them, played in the same team at the same time. His goal record was fantastic. I think in 160 games here, he scored something like 108 goals, which speaks for itself. I haven't checked, but I would imagine that ranks with amongst the best ever in the Football League in this country. The only thing you can say about our Charlie is that his dad wouldn't have much time to watch him, would he? Producing a football team in his spare time. But he must have been some player. John Charles, well, you know, how long have we got on the tape? A legend in his playing career, still a legend. One of Italy's adopted sons. He can go there and have the freedom of nearly any city over there whenever he wants. A great player by anybody's standards, world class, was then, would be now, would be in the future. When you consider he came into the Leeds United team 16 years old, which 16 then you were a baby. I mean, if you saw the first team sheet by the time you were 23, you were pleased. He came in at centre half, which was the position in those days. The centre-half usually was the captain, he was the kingpin of the team. And when he moved up to centre-forward, he went on in 53-54 to score 42 goals, which was at that time a new United Kingdom record. The figures speak for themselves. The man was phenomenal. Yeah, Mick Jones, hell of a good team player. Played a larger part in a team's performance than many a spectator might have imagined. He would have been a favourite with the players. Came here and was not the finished product, but I know they did a lot of work on him here, And by the time he was regularly established as the centre-forward in the team, he was perhaps one of the best in the country at the time.
Leeds went ahead when Mick Jones slammed in a pass from Madeley. A flustered Swindon defence led a ball from Giles, trickled through the penalty area, and Jones dashed in for his second goal. Another siege at the Swindon goalmouth, then an accurate header from Hunter gives Jones the opening for a brilliant hat-trick.
Madeley again to Bremner. Webb getting it away. Now Lorimer. Will this be the long raking kick? It's not, but there's Jordan on the far side. And Jones! Oh, and a beautiful goal!
Clark. Madeley going on a sprint outside him. Madeley's turned inside for Jones! Clark. Jones waiting for the pass, and there it is, well timed. And Jones has made it. Yes!
Lorimer wants to range for the shot. Good cross, Jones up, a goal! In off Ferguson. Jones got up beautifully to that.
Lorimer under this. It's a good ball, Jones! Yes, indeed. Mick Jones pulls one back.
Lorimer. Good header away by McClintock. Yoris. Jones, a goal! It's 2-1. And a beautifully taken goal by Jones. Jones in on it, and a goal! Jones, what a good goal! What a beautifully taken goal by Jones! That's for Lorimer at the angle. Clark in the penalty area. Jones, number 2. Good goal. Jones, Lorimer, Jones. Jones chasing. He's done it, I think. Yes, he has. That's 3. Lorimer and Giles there. Lorimer putting over the high one. Clark glancing it back. Jones has hit a goal. What a great goal by Jones. Beautifully taken goal by Jones. Lorimer walloping it down for Jones to run. Hinton with Jones. Jones going forward. The goal! Beautifully taken. In! Jones! It was deflected, and Jones was the man who put it in.
There's a good run here by Giles as well. Got it in first time towards Clark. Against the post! How unlucky can you get? Jones! A goal! Mick Jones! 2-1!
Not only did Mick Jones score in that drawn 1970 Cup final, but he repeated it in the replay, which Chelsea won.
Webb going in hard, and Clark beautifully getting past him and past Cook, and now Mick Jones. McCready trying to go in, and a goal by Jones for Leeds.
Then in the 72 final against Arsenal, Mick Jones was again the centre of attention. With Leeds ahead by Alan Clark's goal, Mick dislocated his elbow.
And Jones in agony, every step he takes, helped by Norman Hunter, to get a winner's medal from Her Majesty the Queen, and getting a tremendous roar from all around this Wembley Stadium. A great moment for Mick Jones.
Alan Clark, sniffer, top scorer here, 4 seasons, I think 4 consecutive seasons. Magnificent finisher. I mean, he literally passed the ball into the net. He wasn't concerned with how it looked or how it got there, so long as it got there.
More determined than ever, Leeds, like a dog, won't let go. Perseverance pays off. A goal from Alan Clark.
Now Hunter. Cross ball for Clark. Alan Clark. Alan Clark, the scorer.
Madeley. Lorimer chasing it. Heslop again with him. And rolled back for Clark. It's there. Lorimer's persistence and Clark's shot.
And Giles takes it. Madeley. And a goal from Clark.
Maybe Clark and Jordan have got forward, although Reaney is now up. Played back for Lorimer. In towards Jordan. Can he get the touch and saved by Keelan with the legs and put in by Alan Clark.
There. Clark, 5. Down for Clark. Clark round his man. 2. Clark's finishing is as clinical as a surgeon's knife. Here's Mackenzie. Putting it back. Samuels didn't know much about that, but got to it. Clark! Goal!
Johnny Giles. Clark going through on the right, and Clark in for one here, and he's got it. It's 2-0. Alan Clark. Billy O'Kane. Oh, what a bad one. Eddie Gray. Neat one for Clark. There it is. 2-0.
Clark has made it 3-2. Madeley riding a tackle from Dearden. Jones the cross. Clark! A goal! Hope rooted to his line. Charlton. Lorimer. A good save, a goal! Clark the man. The finishing touches by Sniffer Clark.
In my opinion, has to go down as one of the country's best finishers since the war.
This time is onside. McRae coming to meet him, and Clark is round him 1-1.
Lorimer. Lorimer taking it on himself all the time past Bradford. Clark.
And of course people argue that in 1972 against Arsenal he scored Leeds' most important goal, which was the only goal in that cup final.
A fiercely competitive match and nothing between the two sides. Jones now for Leeds. And McNabb only half stopping him. Jones getting it across. And Clark going in! And Alan Clark has put Leeds ahead!
Yeah, Joe Jordan. Sometimes referred to as Daft Joe Jordan by those who really don't understand football because of his apparent willingness to put his head where other people wouldn't put a hammer. But again, like Mick Jones, a player who I would think Friday morning other players looked at the team sheet, and if Joe's name was on it, they felt a lot better, and they slept a lot better on Friday night. Not a great goal scorer, I think something like 40 goals in 140 appearances here, but a great leader of the line.
Good ball on for Jordan. Could score with his first touch in the game. And he's going to. The danger again of Leeds on the break, and the cool marksmanship of Joe Jordan.
Billy Bremner with the corner for Leeds United, right on half-time now. Bonetti beaten in the air, Jordan turning it in! Joe Jordan! Well, that was an incredible goal.
Forward by Eddie Gray for Joe Jordan. Is this going to be number 3? Surely it is, and there it is. It looked for a moment as though he'd taken too long, but Joe Jordan kept his head.
Here's a chance, and it's Jordan again.
Lorimer, lovely control, and a good cross. In comes Jordan. It's a fabulous goal. Lorimer going to get this one. Jordan again.
You wouldn't want to meet Joe in a dark stadium on a dark night in a penalty box if you could avoid it. In the nicest possible way, Joe.
A great list of contenders there. You've got to pick the two who will strike for Leeds in this greatest ever side.
Yeah. Alan Clark, and I really don't have to say the other one, Sir John Charles. It's got to be.
So, the two strikers then, John Charles, 153 league goals for Leeds United. He's an automatic choice, of course. And Alan Clark, ace goal snatcher of the Don Revie era. Next we come to the goalkeepers in this greatest ever Leeds United side. These are the candidates: Jimmy Potts, Roy Wood, Gary Sprake, David Harvey, Mervyn Day, and John Lukic, now having his second spell at the club.
Jimmy Potts, interwar years, the best goalkeeper by reputation during that time. Here 8 years, made about 250 appearances. Big bloke, always seemed to be a big bloke in the sticks. There's a difference. You get tall goalkeepers who are small goalkeepers out there on the pitch. The trick is to be big when it matters, and he was big in that penalty box. He came and took crosses at a time when goalkeepers weren't perhaps as well protected as they are today. Roy Wood, 1952, here for 17 seasons, about 10 appearances per season on average. Typical for a goalkeeper who for a long time was second string at a club at that time. Gary Sprake, you know, a musical joke to some people at times, and yet if you talk to the Leeds United players who played through that great era, they will tell you that they fancied him as a very, very good goalkeeper who made the occasional lapse, which was not so occasionally very costly, but he was very, very agile for a big fella, got about the box well, very athletic. His career was marred by the boobs, and every time he made one, it seemed to be on television.
Over the far corner of the box, in comes Lawler. And it's through his legs, it's a goal, and it's Yates. Yates is in fact the scorer. And it went through Sprake's legs.
McCready. Hutchinson trying to flick it, back-head it. It's gone to Houseman with a shot, and a goal! Oh, terrible mistake there by Sprake. Payne right up there. Bobby Tambling. Sewell trying to lift it in under that crossbar. And a goal! Oh, what a mistake by Sprake! And Sewell has equalised. Oh, and Sprake furious with himself.
So there were certainly nightmare moments in the career of Gary Sprake, but there were also plenty of other occasions when he proved to be a fine goalkeeper indeed for Leeds United.
Baldwin trying it on the volley. Houseman again. Bremner taking him, still Houseman. Finding Hutchinson. Oh, good work by Sprake. Oh, it's good. Off the line. Oh, what tremendous excitement. Houseman. Oh, great save by Sprake. Cross there, and Sprake goes down a fraction before Jerry Queen.
Lee, and a marvellous save by Sprake. A great deal is made of this man's shortcomings, and sometimes they are pretty spectacular.
but you must set against them the fact that a save like that is within the compass of perhaps only 3 or 4 goalkeepers in the country.
David Harvey, what a lot of people would like from their goalkeeper. Anonymous type of goalkeeper at times. You didn't see him. Got on with the job, made the saves, took the crosses, dealt with the pressure, and all in all brought a nice feeling of composure to the people around him at crucial times.
Birmingham's Trevor Francis has a crack. A great save by the Leeds goalie.
James. McElroy turning and shooting, and a great save by Harvey.
Queen out as far as Samuels. That's a beautiful shot and a fabulous save. A long clearance. Now Gibbons, a chance now for Rangers. Oh, and he's stopped by Harvey. Played nicely there for Francis. Hit beautifully. Oh, and what a great save.
Still more pressure that Spurs are putting on this Leeds defence. Neighbour with a nice little cross, and Ian Morse up with a header, and somehow Harvey just got down to save it. That was a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. Played in again towards Ian Morse. Oh, and he was so unlucky there, Jones. Neighbour turning it back again, and Harvey saving well there. Bremner very active, trying to cover all the ways, though. Still with Hudson, trying to curl one, and a fine save by Harvey. And Stewart is coming in again, and now his side foot there for Hallam, and Hallam again. And a tremendous save by Harvey, and Hallam can't believe it. That was incredible. And Webb might still get there first. Now that might be a bit difficult. Osgood is still right in there, and Kemba driving the ball, and a back heel there by Tommy Baldwin. Tremendous reaction though by Harvey. Tremendous piece of goalkeeping by the young Scot in the Leeds United goal.
Taylor. There's the tall fellow again. Miraculous save by Harvey.
Mervyn Day came here in 1985 as an old man. When I say as an old man, because Jimmy Hill was tipping him to be England's next goalkeeper probably 12 years before that. In that time, being an ever-present in the Leeds goal, and played nearly every game last season in our championship year, and played some of his best football perhaps during the last 18 months for a long time. Stood the test of time. What more can you say about a professional football?
And McGee to Brock. It was good football. And the cross is useful as well as Quinn tries to turn. Here's a chance. What a good save by Mervyn Day. It really was an excellent stop. And this could be a scoreline to reverberate around the country. Nobody would have predicted it, certainly, but if Biggins scores, this will be it. And Mervyn Day makes a splendid save. What an excellent stop.
John Lukic, second time here. I could build a team of second times here if I could buy them. There's been some, there's been one or two gone. It cost me a few bob now to get them. David Seaman was another one. John perhaps epitomises what I've just said about goalkeepers, that they do tend to come to their best much later than outfield players, and he's just had perhaps his 3 best seasons in between the sticks for Arsenal. When, if you take into account the European ban, he's won everything here that he could have won. And again, the thing about goalkeepers is that you're out of the action for a long time. Concentration and composure are 2 very, very important factors, because you've got a lot of time to think about what you're going to do next. And if you're not right mentally, you've got a lot of time to think about your last mistake. And the problem with that is, if you do think about your last one, it can lead to your next one.
Coney, nice ball there, played for Houghton. Great save by Lukic. A lovely ball played in by Coney. Houghton took it well, and what a save by Lukic.
Very difficult, but in the end I've gone for Jimmy Potts because of his all-round ability and his tremendous reputation for being the gaffer in the penalty box at a time when goalkeepers were seen as cannon fodder.
So Howard chooses Jimmy Potts as his goalkeeper in the greatest ever Leeds United side, 247 league matches for the club. Our next category, right midfield. These are the candidates: Willis Edwards from before the war, Tommy Burden and Eric Kerfoot just after the war, Mick Bates and, of course, Peter Lorimer.
Willis Edwards, yes, remarkable story of the way he got to Chesterfield. On his way for a trial with Blackburn Rovers, I think, and he was intercepted. The words change, but what goes on doesn't.
Tapped is the other word.
Tapped is the other word, yes. 417 appearances, here 14 years. Went on to become a manager here. What more can you say? The record speaks for itself. Stood the test of time again. Tommy Burden, nearly 250 appearances for Leeds United between 48 and 55. 4 years as captain, I think, here. And played for Wolves as a 16-year-old. At the time when Wolves were starting to emerge as a good team. So, as right halves go at that time, he must have been, you'd have to deal with him. Eric Kerfoot, the thing I like about him, the thing that catches my eye there is, came into professional football at 25 from Staley Bridge. I think Leeds United paid £3,000 for him, and he went on to play over 300 games for Leeds United subsequent to that. And when people talk about him, they talk about his tremendous enthusiasm as being the reason he was made captain, and how that enthusiasm rubbed off on everyone else. Mick Bates, manager's dream, a squad player. At the time Leeds were going through their most successful period, a squad player who got on with it, didn't complain too much, but he was there when he was needed, and he always did a good job.
Mainly. Bates couldn't get out of the way. Jones, Bates. A goal. Mick Bates.
Peter Lorimer made his debut for Leeds United, 15-year-old, which is amazing in itself. I think still a record for the Football League. 500 odd appearances, 168 goals. Underrated at the time, probably again because of the company in which he was playing. Better goal ratio than most of the strikers around in the First Division at the time. Very, very difficult player to deal with. He did everything well. He could go by you with pace. If you didn't get close to him, he could pass, he could cross, hit long passes, hit short passes. Anywhere within 35 yards of goal, you'd got to close him down. If he brought that right foot back, it was good night Vienna.
McQueen finding Lorimer. Shot by Lorimer. That ball really bent. Lorimer tried it for 30 yards and swerved it away from Cooper. And that is the only way in which the Ipswich Town defence, with its tight marking, was going to be beaten. This is Cooper. Now that's a run for Lorimer. And the ball's in front of him and he's onside. He's being chased by Wilson and he's got it. A good goal by Lorimer. Beautifully taken. What magnificent finishing. That's the way a goal should be taken.
Clark's made a run towards the near post, and he's making it again. McCormick only as far as Lorimer. Oh, and a goal! Peter Lorimer. Lorimer's onside. Taking on Hindley. Little chip, and he's there. Oh, what a magnificent little goal. Peter Lorimer.
That was quickly taken to Lorimer. Has a view of goal and tries the shot. It's there. Cooper. History repeats itself. Lorimer. Yes, the deflection. To Lorimer, may hit one from there. A goal! Oh! A typical Lorimer effort.
Is this the blockbuster? No, it's the one that tipped beautifully. Oh, and he hit it against the crossbar. Well, that really was the other side of Peter Lorimer. I think the wall must have shuddered, and in the end it was the crossbar that shuddered.
Jordan, the back header for Lorimer. Good goal! Peter Lorimer's.
It's incredible to think that someone like that was playing out wide, occupying a position which some players who would have had the ability, you know, they've gone out there and say, or they come in and, Gaffer, I don't like playing out there, you know, I don't get enough of the ball, and so on and so forth. This fellow was a striker playing outside right who could cross the ball like Matthews and could shoot like Bobby Charlton. I'm sure Alf Ramsey would have wished he was English.
Lorimer. Lorimer won from 40 yards. Oh, what a beauty! It knocked Stepney into the net. The sheer force of that shot from Peter Lorimer took Alex Stepney by surprise, bent his knuckles back and knocked him into the goal.
Now Harris. Chance for Lorimer. Wow, what a goal!
All of 25, 30 yards out. That's virtually shooting range for Lorimer.
Wow!
Jones turning it down for Lorimer. Oh, a beautifully struck goal!
McDowell. Straight in the path of Lorimer. Lorimer's outside his man for the shot. Oh, it hit the post. How close could you get? Clark's on the outside, but Lorimer's hit one, and a goal! In off the post. 40 yards, Peter Lorimer. Bob Wilson taken by surprise, and he crept inside the post, and that's three. To Gray. Gray now mesmerising them again, across the goal. It's there! Lorimer picked the man on the touch.
Eddie Gray skips it. Hankin looking for the cross. Lorimer coming in! 1-1.
Coming out to Lorimer. Lorimer trying to find Jones. McCormick there. The chance for Lorimer. Lorimer.
Great run by Bates there, which has acted as a decoy, taken everyone's eyes off Lorimer. And there it is, the first goal for Leeds by Peter Lorimer.
Oh, these are the choices I like. No question, Peter Lorimer.
So the man with the explosive shot, Peter Lorimer, he's the choice for right side midfield in this greatest ever Leeds United side. Now we turn to the right backs. There are four candidates: George Milburn, Bert Sproston, Paul Reaney and Paul Mabley.
George Milburn, yeah. Old-timers will go on long after the pubs closed about George Milburn because, of course, he was uncle to Jack and Bobby Charlton. He was related to Jackie Milburn, and I think another of his brothers played football. And in fact, I think he partnered his brother here regularly, and I had a brother down at Chesterfield, I think, who he went to later, became manager, and he partnered him. So, you know, the North East at that time and since can feel proud of itself for the part it played in the rise and rise of the Milburns and all those associated with them. And the man who took over from George Milburn was Bert Sproston, who at his time was one of the most cultured fullbacks around in this country, when fullbacks were supposed to chip wingers into the fourth row of the terrace. During his career, I think he got 11 England caps, most of them or all of them with Leeds. And then, because Leeds were so hard up, they sold him on to Tottenham Hotspur for the princely sum of £9,500. Paul Reaney, yeah, what a right side the team had. Peter Lorimer knocking him in one goal at that end, and Paul Reaney kicking him off the goal line at the other end. 550 appearances, Mr. Reliable, would have played for England. Very, very unlucky just before the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, when he broke his leg, when it's almost certain he would have gone. But as you might have predicted had you known him, I would imagine, went on to play another 8 seasons after that. One of those fullbacks who I would think wingers sat in the dressing room. There were fullbacks in the country at that time who were perhaps more well-known, more spectacular. But if you were an outside left, you probably, if you had to pick somebody with whom you didn't want to spend some time on a desert island, it would be Paul Reaney, because you didn't get much change out of Paul.
Comes back for Eddie Gray again. Machin is the defender facing him, trying to use Reaney and now Lorimer to make room for the cross. Lorimer, a good cross flicked in, and it's gone in from Paul Reaney.
Lorimer, Reaney outside. First timer! Oh, and Shelton had to produce a beautiful save there from Paul Reaney.
Paul Madeley, truly remarkable. In all, some 700 appearances in a Leeds United shirt. Referred to still as a utility player. In one season, played 9 positions, I think, in a season. I don't know whether he had a nickname, but if he didn't, then I would have given him one, Nijinsky. He must have been a manager's dream. In the whole of his career, I think he picked up 2 bookings. Went out, got on with the job, quick as lightning, could head, could tackle, could pass. How they managed to hang on to him here is some testimony to the fellow's character, because he would, I would have thought, walked into any team in the country at the time, including Liverpool. I mean, we talk now of perhaps, just to throw a name in there, Alan Hansen. But when you think of how Paul Madeley performed in the different positions in which he played, it's unbelievable, really. Unbelievable.
Shadowed by Madeley, and Madeley getting in. A well-timed little challenge there by Madeley, who's played in every position for Leeds except goal. Baldwin going in for one of those near-post crosses, and beautiful work there by Madeley. It needed to be good.
Madeley going on a sprint outside him. Madeley's turned inside for Jones.
Madeley has gone up there. Yorith is still going. Madeley with a good run and a good save.
Baldwin going in with McQueen coming in behind him, and now Garland, has he got the pace? Oh, and that was a marvellous piece of defence again by Paul Madeley, the number 11.
I go for Paul Madeley, and I go for him on a hunch, really, and the hunch being that if he'd have played enough there, he would have been one of the best in the world. He suffered perhaps from the fact that he was too good in too many other positions. But I think as a right back, he could have done anything in any sort of game.
So, Mr. Consistent, Paul Madeley, 528 league games for Leeds United, gets the right back spot just ahead of Paul Reaney. And next category, left back. These are the candidates: Jack Milburn, Grenville Hare, Willie Bell, Terry Cooper, and Frank Gray, who had 2 spells at the club.
Jack Milburn, George's brother, the penalty king, who I'm sure would have been jealous all his life of the fact that whilst he was dubbed the penalty king and loved smashing the ball and the goalkeeper as far into the cop as was possible, his brother actually scored a hat-trick of penalties, one of the few people to have scored a hat-trick of penalties. So I bet when they got a few drinks down him on New Year's Eve up there in Northumberland and Durham, that one was thrown in there just to annoy him. Grenville Hare signed here in 1948, 16 years at the club, 448 appearances. The fact that Frank Buckley, Major Frank Buckley, signed him would have been testimony indeed. couldn't make the England team, although many think if he hadn't been with Leeds he would have done. Typical of the jobbing footballer at that time. Would come here, not expect to see the first team for maybe 10 years. Come in on Friday morning, look at the team sheet, and he might start, if he was being optimistic, he might look at the Yorkshire League first, then the Central League, and eventually work his way up to the first team. And yet 16 years at the football club, and many of the people at this football club now who can remember those times will tell you he was one of the best fullbacks in the country. Willie Bell, one of the bricks on which Don Revie built his famous era, saw them through the Second Division Championship campaign, I think. In my brief career in the First Division, I actually played against Willie twice. He's now a lay preacher in America, I believe, and they say that sometimes poachers make the best gamekeepers. Well, that might be the case in point here. If Willie had have done with his feet what he threatened to do with his mouth, then I wouldn't have been sitting here today. Terry Cooper, my first memories of Terry are a Central League game at Hillsborough, me playing outside right and him playing outside left, and me thinking, who's this here? Because it was the time when everyone was changing to Continental boots, and yet there was this lad plodding up and down outside left with a pair of the old Mansfield Hotspurs, or so it seemed. Just shows you, first appearances, he went on to be as good a fullback as you would see anywhere, anytime. Terrific left foot, tremendous going forward, almost, if you're playing against Leeds at that time, you've got to deal with two outside lefts, and perhaps the left fullback was the better of the two. Terrific record here, terrific record for England. Still doing it now in management. I would think got to be one of the best around at the time, and maybe even now.
Cooper going to have a go himself. There it is. Oh, just off the post. What a lovely effort by Terry Cooper. Fine effort by England's World Cup fullback. Weaved his way through the defence and hit that left foot drive just wide of the post.
And Terry Cooper scored the only goal of the game in the 1968 League Cup final against Arsenal at Wembley.
Frank Gray continued the tradition down here at Leeds for brothers playing in the same team and playing for the same team. Again, came in as the roller coaster was perhaps slowing down, and had to deal with the less successful years here at Leeds. Terrific going forward, perhaps played his best football when he moved from here down to Forest.
That's the one from Curry to Cherry, and here's Jordan with some good play. Away goes Gray. This is Frank Gray. Good shot, and a good goal. Beautifully taken.
Another easy one for me, Terry Cooper. He could do so much with the ball that you know, defending was not a problem to him. In fact, your problem was stopping him. But when he had to stop you, he could, one way or the other.
So, Howard Wilkinson's choice at left-back, it's Terry Cooper. 240 league games for the club, 7 goals. For our next category, we go to the left side of midfield, and these are the candidates. Tom Cochrane from pre-war days, Albert Johansson, Mike O'Grady, and of course, Eddie Gray.
Tom Cochrane must have had tremendous character, because he came to the club in 28 and went through a very sticky time with the fans early doors, but forced his way through, hung on in there, teamed up with Bill Finesse, and were one of the most effective left sides around at the time, and the pair of them were a very significant factor in Leeds achieving promotion in 31-32 to the First Division. Albert Johansson, the first The first day I was here, a fella came over on the training pitch to have a word with me, and I recognised the face, but not quite the body. He'd changed somewhat. Nobody knew what Albert was going to do. I don't think sometimes his teammates knew, and sometimes I wonder if he knew. And yet on his day he could be unplayable. A shame really that the talent never had enough support for to make him into the player he should have been, perhaps.
There's Johannesson, Leeds South African-born left winger, the first coloured footballer ever to play in a Wembley final.
Yeah, Mike O'Grady, Leeds schoolboy who slipped away down to Huddersfield, and a costly slip because it cost him £30,000 to get him back in '65, at a time when the football club had a gentleman called Mr. Eddie Gray on its books. So our friend Mr. O'Grady must not have been half bad player, eh?
Lorimer. Nice play.
Oh, great goal! What a great goal! O'Grady.
Eddie Gray, the stuff that dreams are made of, the sort of player that gets schoolboys dreaming in the beds. Fantastic player, great representative for professional football to the outside world. The Chelsea Cup final, when he turned their right flank inside out, sticks in my mind, the first one. The game down here against Burnley when he scores the two great goals. I mean, the dribble lives forever, ranks with the best goals I have ever seen, and the terrific chip.
Chris Galvin, out on the left is Hibbert. Galvin holding it at the moment. Bates trying to get up there. Gray picking it up in midfield. And a good one. He's there! What an incredible goal! What an incredibly judged goal by Eddie Gray! Gray. Good ball meant for Johannesson, and here's Gray, and a cool save by Miller. He had to have 2 attempts at that. Gray still up there. Eddie Gray. Oh, good footwork by Gray, still going. Oh, what a lovely goal, what a masterly goal by Eddie Gray. A superb bit of football.
He could make the ball talk. Terrific change of pace, terrific control. You would have thought he was skating when he got the ball. He moved, he grace and poise. Never seemed flustered, never got flustered.
Gray, inside is Clark. There's Gray. Oh, good ball to Jones. To Clark. There's Gray. It's there! Eddie Gray! Oh, what a beautifully worked goal.
Good ball for Gray. Cooper going outside Gray. And Gray! What a goal! Eddie Gray!
Leeds lost that grip they had earlier. But here's Bremner, here Leeds. A good ball, nice ball to Gray. And a goal, a glorious goal, a superbly executed goal.
If you make me a salesman tomorrow for the Football League and send me to Mars to try and sell football to Mars, I've got to take a cassette of Eddie Gray in full flight with me, because he was smooth as silk. And for his sins, came back here to manage. Why he had to do that when he'd had such a lovely life as a footballer? Why he should try to want to inflict management on himself? It is beyond me, but we're all lunatics, I suppose. It's got to be Eddie. He showed people that now and again, skill, if you've got enough of it, is enough. And he reminded people that is what we should all aim for. Whether we get there or not, obviously we know we're not going to. But the game where it was invented for the likes of Eddie.
So Eddie Gray gets the chance to display his wonderful skills down the left flank in this greatest ever Leeds United side. Now we need to choose 2 centre-backs, and these are the candidates. From the 1920s and into the 30s, Ernie Hart and Jim Baker, Tom Holly, John Charles, although John's already been selected as one of the strikers, Jack Charlton and Norman Hunter.
Ernie Hart, 1920 for 16 seasons, 447 appearances in the league, and then almost, you know, is the epitome of how ham-fisted football can be, how it can shoot you in the foot. I think in the whole of his career, I don't think he gets booked, but he gets sent off once. And that sending him off costs him a tour with an FA party to New Zealand. Jim Baker, as they called him up here then, told Waros, something like 150 consecutive appearances at one stage. First skipper after Leeds City became Leeds United, and a bit of a legend round here at the time. Tom Holly, 1936 to 49, career interrupted by the war, where presumably he learned to write. Some would say not very well. That would be a matter of opinion. Tom was a character on the field and a character off it, I believe, and I think that came through during his time as a journalist. John Charles has got to get a mention here because, of course, he played centre-half with equal distinction to that with which he played centre-forward. The Fantasy Island team has got him at centre-half, taking the free kicks and getting up there at the other end to head them in, whilst his mate, Jack Charlton, who's also a contender, is poking the goalkeeper in the eye. Yeah, he was a terrific centre-half, but we've obviously got him in the team already at centre-forward, so he can slot in if we need to. Jack, well, what can you say about Jack? He at the time perhaps, and still, was nearly as well known as Don Revie, and rightly so perhaps, because one gets the impression that after a while he did the manager's job for the manager out there on the field. A tremendous character who was always making his presence felt out there one way or the other, defending and attacking.
Back to Charlton, not an easy one for him. Being held back by Weimar, but he goes on. Still going, Harper gets the ball off him, but it's Clark picks up, and Charlton here in a good position. Oh, and it's a great goal. What a lovely goal.
Jack had led a fairly inconspicuous, or had a fairly inconspicuous career until he was around about 27 years old. And then I think the influence of Don comes to play a greater part in his life, and all of a sudden he starts to blossom. He perhaps lived a long time in the shadow of his younger brother Bob, but he starts to blossom and becomes probably one of the most important, if not the most important member of that team at the time, not only for his contribution as a player, but for his contribution as a leader, and really has gone from strength to strength.
Loading it towards Hutchinson, gets ahead to it, towards good, with a shot! No, off the line by Jack Charlton!
Leeds certainly doing the pressing, but no sign yet of the goal. Here's Bremner's first time. Charlton! Oh, what bad luck! Bad luck for Jack Charlton. It was a beautiful effort.
He was a terrific player, Norman Hunter. Played alongside Jack Charlton. Terrific left foot. Read things very, very well, but a great user of the ball. Could deal with the ball in tight situations. Very, very unfortunate at the time because a certain Robert Moore was occupying his position in the England team.
Got three West Ham defenders surging around him, but he finds now Peter Lorimer. Inside for Johnny Giles. And Hunter coming up fast to drive it. Oh, and what a goal! What a goal by Norman Hunter!
And the cross wouldn't come over as Hughes wanted it. He delayed it for a moment, and Reaney was able to just get in a tackle, or at least half a tackle. Hunter, what tremendous confidence there all along the penalty area, past three Sunderland players by Norman Hunter.
Well, it's got to be Jack Charlton and Norman Hunter. Brawn and brain. One trips him and the other clips him. I'll leave you to decide which. No. I can't think of a better pairing in this country since the war.
And what great servants of Leeds United they were. Jack Charlton, 629 league games for the club. Norman Hunter with 540 league games. What a combination. Now we turn to the midfield with four candidates here. Wilf Copping, Bobby Collins, and needless to say, Billy Bremner and Johnny Giles.
Wilf Copping, the original Barnsley Laker, the Iron Man as they called him. You know, one's tempted to make comparisons with people currently playing in the Leeds team, but we'll refrain from such comparisons. But 20 appearances for England in those days, in the 30s, not a bad record.
Why not make that comparison, though? Because you're talking about Vinnie Jones, who's got that same sort of will to win and ability to tackle and so on that Wilf Copping had. Do you see Vinnie as an embryonic Wilf Copping?
I'd like to think so, because the chap we're talking about went on to grace the First Division and play for England and become a very influential person in English football in that decade. But the comparisons are there to be made in their early years, and I hope for Vinnie's sake and Leeds United's sake that he goes down the same road that Mr. Copping went down.
He's got a chance to do that?
Oh, he's got every chance. Despite what people say, I think last season, you know, he was noted for what he did off the ball rather than on it. I think last season he was booked twice here in probably 50 games. So we're making progress. Bobby Collins, I remember sharing a bottle of scotch with Bobby not too many years ago. It was a typical Scottish share. He had the big half and I had the little half of the bottle. And trying to get some insight into what went on here at the time, because he was, I think, probably a bit of a watershed for Leeds United insofar as Don fetched him from Everton and built a team around him in those early formative years. A great competitor, a great enthusiast. I mean, the thing that comes over to you when you talk to him is his enthusiasm. When he talks about it now, you'd think he was still playing. A great deal of what happened to Leeds in their halcyon years has got to be down to Bobby. We haven't got really enough tape, have we, for Billy? I mean, he's covered every colour of the rainbow, every part of the spectrum in football terms. He could do the lot. I mean, I talk about Eddie Gray and I'm talking about one way of playing football, or one part of football, and yet Billy, he could deal with any part of the game. You know, you could lay down the terms of the deal, and he would accept those terms and then do battle with you on those terms. I can still see now the little reverse pass that he used to do. I can see the little crossover and the flick you know, taking the right, when he used to take his right leg behind his left, and poke the ball through people's legs and things. Scored goals.
Giles takes a corner for Leeds. Wolves clear, but only to Lorimer. Back to Hibbett. But Bremner crashes through, and it's a goal. First blood to Leeds, 1-0.
O'Grady. Jack Charlton. Bremner. Oh, beautiful goal! What a superlative goal by Bremner! Oh, what a wonderful goal by Bremner! An overhead kick from Jack Charlton's flick.
So an awkward free kick for the Leicester defenders again. Giles through, Bremner, and he's allowed it. He is allowed the goal. It's 2-2 and Bremner scored it.
Coming through to Jones, back for Bremner. It's there, the equaliser by Bremner in the first minute of the second half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men, Wall and Clark. What a save! Bremner score. Bremner makes it 2. It's 2-0. Cooper saved it, but Bremner went in to make it 2.
Madeley, Bremner. Ooh, that was... Smith went flying in then. Bremner knew it, dragged the ball away from him. That really was a wild one. And the goal is given. The goal is given. Bremner. 14 minutes. Billy Bremner knocks the free kick straight in, while everybody's standing around looking.
Free kick taken by Cooper. Giles. Headed out to Bremner. A beautiful goal by Bremner. What cool thinking by Bremner. He only had a split second to make up his mind, but saw the gap to the right of West. Hit that ball as it dropped. Madeley back to Lorimer. And Bremner. It's there! What a lovely goal by Bremner. Again, the cool head of this little man. While all around him are bodies, Bremner finds the only hole between defenders and the net and puts his shot through it.
Everybody knows about his aggression, which is a shame, really, because sometimes it takes the limelight off what was a very, very, very accomplished footballer for Leeds United and for Scotland. Tremendous enthusiasm for the game. The sort of person I would have thought, you know, had he been injured for the season, you would have taken him to every game just for his influence about the place. Again, not many people, I think, genuinely qualify for world class, because, as I said to you, I think to be world class, a world class player can go out there and the manager says to him, I'm going to play you up front today, or I'm going to play you outside right, I'm going to play you full back, I'm going to play you centre half. You know, now, I think Billy could have even played centre half alongside a bigger fella. A world class player, I think. A world class player. Johnny Giles, a terrific passer, good control, fantastic vision, could get about the pitch, brought other people into the game, and when he needed to and when he had to was no mean defender. And perhaps if you were given the choice of playing against either defensively, you might prefer to play against Billy, because with John you didn't know where it was coming from sometimes. But between them, what a pair.
Lorimer, he'll play it wide again for Giles to drive it, and there it is from Johnny Giles.
Jones leaping, a backhander, in goes Giles! A goal! A beautifully worked goal. Jones the backhander, and Giles the beautiful finishing. To Keith Newton, and he's made a gift of it to Jones. And here's Giles. It's there. Giles has equalised. A mistake by Brian LeBone. And Johnny Giles making it 1-1. Giles having a go and wide. He does it! My word, it fooled everybody, including me. A superb effort by Giles.
Johnny Giles. And there's Cooper right up there, you'll notice. Giles. Beautiful play by Giles. Oh, great play. Jones in the 6-yard area. That's the man he's aimed for, Jones, and Jackson fisting it away. Cook taking too long to get it away. Giles. And a goal! Scored by Johnny Giles.
What midfield talent then, to say nothing of the likes of Trevor Cherry and Terry Yorth. But who gets picked?
Yeah, obvious to me, Billy Bremner and Johnny Giles.
No surprises for guessing that. It was a foregone conclusion. Billy Bremner, 586 league games for Leeds United and 90 goals from the midfield. And his partner throughout those wonderful years, Johnny Giles, 380 games and 88 goals. You're also entitled to 5 substitutes. Maybe you could name the substitutes for us.
Yes, Gary Sprake, Paul Reaney, Wilf Copping, Bobby Collins and Charlie Keatley.
Of course, every great side needs a great manager. So who is the greatest ever Leeds United manager?
It's got to be Don Revie, because he turned a football club into an institution. I mean, when you examine their history, comparatively young club, as football clubs go in this country, he brought about their first sustained attack at the crown heads of football in this country. And it's unfortunate that it slipped away. But he definitely made this football club into a major power.
So now just sit back and just for a moment dream about this greatest ever Leeds United side as chosen by the present manager, Howard Wilkinson. In goal, Jimmy Potts, and a back four of Paul Madeley, Jack Charlton, Norman Hunter and Terry Cooper. And through the midfield, Peter Lorimer, Johnny Giles, Billy Bremner and Eddie Gray. And the men to get the goals, Alan Clark and John Charles. 9 of that team from the Don Revie era. But what about the men of today at Ellen Road?
There are people here who can aspire to move into that category. And a couple of examples that I would throw in are at opposite ends of the continuum. You've got Strack, who many people thought had come here to...
Gordon Strachan,
to while away his days in a nice, lush pasture, who has had a new lease of life here, has played in a way that would have graced any stage, been an example to everyone, and who really is the epitome of everything a manager would want from a footballer. And then just latterly, towards the end of the season, I brought a young boy into the team called Gary Speed, who's just got a cap for Wales, who has a lot of the attributes, physical attributes of Gordon, and who, in my opinion, you know, might go on or might aspire to the sort of heights we've talked about, along with a few others. If he learns the lessons along the way that Gordon Strachan learned very early, it seems to me, and that is that, you know, football's not just about, or playing successfully at that level isn't just about pulling a shirt on once a week. There's a lot more to it than that. And Gordon, in his time here, if he's done nothing else, although he has done a lot more than that, has shown a lot of people just what that other bit is.
And tell me about your thoughts now when you look at the side you've chosen. I mean, it would take a fantastic amount of stopping, and there'd be queues all the way down to Leeds Station, I think, to see him play, wouldn't there?
Yeah, well, I've seen a few of these videos, and I've looked at it, and I thought, that's not a bad team. That is not a bad team. But I would like to see the playoffs. with these teams in them. Those would be some games. Yeah. I don't know what you do managing this lot, but I'm sure it would be very, very, very pleasant. For a few hours in my life, I feel I know what it's like to be Kenny Dalglish.
To say that Leeds are playing with Southampton is the understatement of the season. Poor Southampton just don't know what day it is. Every man jack of this Leeds side is now turning it on. Oh, look at that! It's almost cruel. The Ellen Road crowd are lapping it up. The second home match running, Leeds United are turning on a brilliant show, and the other team are just not on the park. Even when a pass goes astray, they can pick it up. Got to feel some sympathy for Southampton. The gap between their position and Leeds is an almighty chasm.